Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.
Yeah, we're going to share a little wisdom by answering your questions about the weather. And today's question comes from Dana Floyd, and she wants us to explain a tropical wave. She lives in Houston, and, you know, this time of year, they are keeping a very close eye on the tropics. So let's take you to Invest 91L because that is a tropical wave. First, we're going to give you the definition of a tropical wave. And basically, it's an elongated area of low pressure in the tropics. It does not have that closed circulation, that low pressure. And that's what we see here. Do you see how you have just clouds stretching really from almost the Yucatan to Cuba up into Florida? So it's really stretched out for us. There's a lot of cloud cover. A lot of that rain is off to the east. Now, something else you can look at. You see these white lines? These are isobars, or pressure. Notice that we don't have a closed circle. Those white lines, if we had a low pressure, those white lines would be closed off like this. We basically just have a hump, if you will, in these white lines, and that is the wave right there, okay? It's a little trophy area, so that is our wave. Now, we do have a lot of cloud cover and rain off to the east. As it does move towards the west, there's now a 50% chance. It's just in, 50% chance. The latest update, our 8 a.m. update from the Hurricane Center telling us 50% chance of development over the next 5 days. So it does look like it's going to make its way towards the Texas coast, the Louisiana coast. And as we have a look at the shear, there is a lot of shear off to the east. And the environment, as it goes over very warm waters in the Gulf of Mexico, there's not a lot of shear. So there is that potential to develop. Can this spin get itself together, get that moisture wrapped all the way around, and actually stack up with a mid-level spin? That's the big question. Regardless of all of that, it does look like we will have some decent rain here all along the Gulf Coast, right? Not just into Texas. Send us your questions on social.
You notice how bright it got, Jim? I mean, it was light as day for a second.
I know. You could see everything clearly with the light.
Lightning. It's bright. It's strong. It's hot. It's dangerous. Whew, look at that. All right, so where will you see lightning that will just, make the dark turn into day? We've got some chances of that again today. We've got two systems to watch. This other one coming in is a bigger one, but this one here and just to the north of it, I think we'll have to watch for some showers and thunderstorms and potential severe weather today. All right, so here we go. This morning, there have been a couple of showers out there. Cincinnati, you might get a rumble of thunder south of town, but, nothing organized. Same thing across western Pennsylvania. Nothing severe right now, just a couple of rumbles of thunder. Needed rain, actually. We need the rain across this area. But will it be too much? Will it be too strong? We have some stronger winds, mid to upper levels of the atmosphere punching in here from Pennsylvania into southern New York. And there is some turning of the winds with height, especially right along that warm front that is moving right up here through New York State. So, and Western Mass and Connecticut. So that's going to be an area where we could see some rotation with our storms, the potential for an isolated spin up of a tornado. Overall, the other severe weather is going to be strong, damaging winds. And we're going to see these storms pop this afternoon about 2 o'clock, and they're just going to go. The sky might look, benign until about this point, and then all of a sudden everything starts growing in terms of the vertical extent of the clouds, and these thunderstorms are going, and they could bring some strong damaging winds as well as some heavy rainfall. And we've got a couple of rounds. So we've got one round coming in through today in multiple rounds of storms, but then tomorrow another one. That could add up to too much rainfall, potentially here in the Appalachians too because of the terrain. Let's time it out for specific cities, Steph.
Yeah, so let's start you off in Washington, D.C., and we want to show you our Earth Cam here, all right? And you can see that things are actually pretty quiet in D.C. right now, but we are in the red zone today for severe weather. Thunderstorms, these boomers could blow up with that afternoon heating, and there's plenty of fuel for those storms as well. Not only do we have some stronger winds, we have those heat indices expected at 105. So we have gusty winds. You could see the hail. You could see all of that as we head in the afternoon. We could see some flash flooding. So let's talk about where and when this is going to happen. So we're going to shift over and show you our forecast here along the 95 corridor. You see the storms are still off to our west. Man, did you guys see? We had to get some of these shelf clouds coming out of Pittsburgh with the storms that blew on through. I do think that there will be more of those shelf cloud pictures with the daytime heating and the storms firing up here. So scattered storms in and around D.C., and it could actually impact your evening commute. Thankfully, our commute in D.C. isn't, typical because of COVID and so many people working from home. But those of you that are on the roads, it could be bumper to bumper because this stuff is coming through right when everyone will be leaving the office, and these will be blinding downpours, the kind that your windshield wipers cannot keep up with. Now, as we go up the coast here and make our way towards Philadelphia and the surrounding surrounding areas, Cherry Hill. You know, again, same scenario, but what is our timing on this? Everything is going to be coming into the afternoon hours. So this is going to be hitting us, you know, 7, 8 o'clock right in town. Trenton, you'll be getting it too. So hopefully everyone will be home before this stuff really lights off. But if you have a long day at the office, maybe not so much. New York City, again, everything will be a little bit later in the day. And of course, as we go north, everything kind of shifts east when we're talking about landmass here. And so New York, it's going to be a little bit later for you, but showers and thunderstorms, boom, around 9 o'clock, which might keep people up a little bit later than they should be.
This is hashtag the life, right? Look at this. An elephant, this is an Asian elephant, by the way, cooling off, using his trunk to breathe at the Fort Worth Zoo in Texas. You know what? Don't just take the trunk and like splash it on you or spray it on. Just lay down. That's what this guy does.
Look at this.
That's
Nice.
fantastic. By the way, elephants can swim.
They can swim.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
swim.
He's got a built-in
and according to
snorkel.
some movies, they can fly. Anyway, this pool, by the way, only about 3 to 5 feet deep, so you didn't need to get down all that much on this one. Boy, does this elephant look about as comfortable as it gets? Or
Yeah, the life, living the life right here. You saw how he was breathing. He had like his trunk just stuck up right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a built-in snorkel.
Don't you wish we could do that? Hold our heads under the water and
I
still
know.
just kind of.
Well,
I guess if we had a snorkel, we could do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wondered if
we
elephants-
digress. It was 91 yesterday, by the way, in Fort Worth, but it felt like 100.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, you see the elephant cooling off. I wondered if elephants could float, you know, because they're so big and heavy, but they can. They float just fine. So, and they swim just fine. They love the water. Today, you're not loving the water if you're driving, because hopefully you don't have any ponding of water on the roadways. We do have some rain to start today, but there'll be more to finish. 30, 40, really all roads across this area. Memphis, I saw a picture of a pretty cool rainbow this morning, so you can thank the early morning rain for that. But there'll be more where that came from. So here we go around Little Rock this morning. A couple of showers. A storm right near Conway has just popped up. It has lightning in it, so if you're thinking about riding your bike to work or to do any errands this morning here, maybe not because of that lightning. And then we also have more showers popping into the afternoon. So daytime heating will definitely play a role. You saw that everything sort of flared up about 3, 4 o'clock, and then it settled back down again. So if you're trying to plan your drive, you know, accordingly, maybe late morning might be the best time, or then after the sun sets would be the next best time, because during the peak heating and then into the early evening, we're going to have some scattered showers popping all across this area. Now, from Texas to Louisiana, that's a hot spot for getting into even more rain in the coming days, and it's all because of what's happening in the tropics, guys.
Yes, we are going to talk about our invest, and what we're going to do is break down what factors could help this develop and which factors could actually tear it apart more than it's been torn apart.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us this morning, a lot of you getting up, grabbing a cup of coffee, we're now up to 50% from the Hurricane Center in terms of getting a depression in through here, and there's a little bit more convection and a few things that we need to talk about, but do we have enough here, Steph, to get eventually a named storm before it makes its way to
That's a really good question. So let's go through it here, and you can see that still all the clouds and showers are basically blown off to the east. It's still a wave. It is still a very stretched out low pressure, right? It's still disorganized. It doesn't have a good spin with it or anything like that, Jim.
No, but you'll notice on some of these later images, kind of that little bubble with some lightning on it, too, actually, off to the west there, which is a little bit closer to where they put that eye, right? That invest.
Right
Nice
over
job,
here,
Abrams.
you'll see like a little bubble, just boom. That's what Jim's talking about right there.
She is a brave woman.
And there's
nasty morning in Miami, by the way, well away from the invest center, but it's still broad, it's still disorganized. Hurricane hunters may go out there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, one of the things we look at, 80 degrees or greater water temps, do we have that or what?
Candy. I mean, this is like giving, or more like a Red Bull to a baby, right? I mean, this is energy like off the charts. But we need to look at the shear. And Jim, that shear blew everything off to the east. You can see that shear. But as we go through time, really the shear in the environment is going to be very, very low for this.
And I think right now where the convection is firing, it actually is very low.
Shear.
So low shear, we're starting to see those thunderstorms kind of blossom there. Some of the guidance that we have, now there's no European model here, but still the European is very similar to these tracks of the GFS, the Canadian, and the TCVN, which is a blend of the best models, okay? Everything takes it to Texas. It's got to. There's a low to the south and a high to the north.
And
it's got to go in between.
Not a lot of shear in the path, and it's going over very warm waters. Now, we need to talk about this upper level low, right? So we have this right here. It's a little bit hard to see because there's a lot going on, Jim, on this, you know, water vapor, the untrained eye. Right there. You see it. That's our upper level low. A little bit of dry air on the west side of that system.
Yeah, a little bit, but can the convection
Wrap
and
around.
the atmosphere compensate for this, and I think it can, especially if we get development here. Now, what's interesting about this is you can actually see where the moisture is and almost see the entity as it moves its way west, right?
It does, and here's the thing. Can that surface feature match up with that mid-level feature and stack up?
Yeah. Right now,
that would make it stronger.
Right now, it's still very, very tilted. So we go over our checklist, and the other thing too is even though there's a lot of similarities in the guidance in terms of track, intensity is a different story right now with this because they still don't have a good hold on it. But let's take a look at some of these important features, and you can see a lot of them, Steph, are actually for it, but there are several against it too.
Yes. So Jen, everyone needs to keep their eye as we head into the weekend on the tropics.
Yeah, and regardless what happens, if you are going to the beach, the rip current risk is going to be up all along the Gulf Coast. So that's something else to factor in. Today is National Hammock Day. So if you want to go swing in your hammock under a tree, Fargo's a nice spot. We got temperatures in the 70s. Maybe not in Denver, though, where you can find a good shade tree, right? Because it's going to be in the upper 90s. All right, tomorrow is Gorgeous Grandma Day. So there you go. Take Grandma out for lunch, or I guess take out and maybe sit out on the porch with her socially distant. But hopefully you get to enjoy that. Friday is National Tequila Day. So look, it's Friday night. And if you're heading out, at least enjoy some nice times into the Northeast. You know, keep that going into your Friday. Temperatures do heat back up, though. We've got 94 degrees in New York City and Chicago by the time we get into Sunday. Scattered showers and storms in the south, and especially focusing on Texas and Louisiana.